And we're live. We
Welcome,
are live.
welcome, welcome. Yay! Welcome to Tea Talk.
I know it's not the typical Tuesday, but Tuesday, Thursday, that's kind of our go between. I had a little mini photo shoot with my grandbaby on Tuesday, which was fun. I posted just a couple images on my Instagram account if you want to check it out. But I'm also putting together this longer video that involves a lot of. We saw some really cool. Can you hear this dishwasher in the background, by the way?
Hey, sometimes you got to hear the dishwalker.
I can go turn it off. I'm gonna
It's
go turn it
okay.
off.
No,
No?
yeah,
You
leave
sure?
the dish.
Okay.
You know what?
All
This
right.
is life.
Listen.
This
Yeah.
is
So if
life.
you hear
Stop
it,
it.
I should be loud enough that it doesn't bother you. But we
If
saw
you
some
hear
really
it, Gina
interesting
is
things on our
cleaning.
walk. Um. So I'm gonna let MJ do the her smudging. Then I'll talk a little bit about yeah.
Blessings,
We're gonna
blessings, blessings, guys. Today, let's clear the energy. Let's take a moment, take a
yeah.
deep breath in today. It's been a really, in the planets, the energy's been really intense. Have you been feeling heavy and stuck and aggressive and all these other things? Or looking? Another thing this week I want to know, and I'm going to just put it out there, is I need you to check your spiritual corners. Are the people you following on Instagram, photo, Facebook, or all that, are they positive? Are they helping others? Are they spreading love, or are they just negative, negative, negative? And they're like, okay, let's create a group and everybody join me. Please be aware of these things because that's negativity in all forms, and you don't want that in your life. You want people that raise your vibe and make you feel good and happy, not feel stuck and heavy. And if that's the energy you're feeling, I want you to feel into your body and ask, do I belong here? Or do I need to find people that really lift me up? Because that's where you keep yourself good. And that this lesson is for today because this week has been a really intense emotional energy week with the planets. So I really want you to look at these things and take it slow and smudge yourself. Take a moment to step back if you have to, because you know what? I'd rather you step back and take a hold of yourself than get into an aggressive situation with somebody because of the energy, because this
Yeah.
is all about energy. So let's work it this week. So thank you for letting me take this moment to share this, guys. This is your red tip of the day. Take a moment to step back, check your corners. Who spiritually is in you and who are you following? Are they post negative and negative, attacking other people? Not That's not who you want in your life right now. Because right now the energy is so deep, we would need the high vibe people. And I know sometimes you'll say, "Oh my God, the high vibe people suck," but you need them because they're lifting your light. They're making you feel good. They're saying, "No, you don't need to be stuck in that corner no more. You are better than that. You are smarter than that. You are alive." And that's what this is about. So I want you to feel into the energies today. And then, all in behold, if that doesn't work, grab some crystals and let's clear the energy. Grab some selenite and clear your energy. Black some kyanite. Take deep breaths in and balance. Bring yourself back into balance. It's so very important, guys. See, and look, it's so that the sage is still moving. The sage is still burning because it's like the energy needs to
Yeah.
flow.
Exactly. And
So
there's so much happening, like you said. I know today there's a solar flare that actually either is hitting or has hit or it's coming. Either way, it's there. And when I woke up this morning, I've just felt so drained, even though I went to bed early, got a good night's sleep, but I woke up feeling drained. And I said, well, what's going on? Because this is a waning moon. I am not affected by waning moons. And I said,
right,
oh, there's something else going on. So I said, well, let me check. Is there a solar flare happening sometime soon? And lo and behold, it actually is supposed to hit today. So I said, well,
right.
that's it. That has to be it. And so I have my ways of kind of, working through that as well. And funny enough, for those of you who don't know, tinnitus is a huge issue for me, huge issue. And today, even though it's really loud, it's not as um, disharmonious. Let's say that's a word. It almost seems, and I posted this earlier, like 3 or 4 part harmony in my head. It's not like screaming loud and something that I can't handle. It's totally different today. And I don't know if it has to do with all of the energies that's happening, just kind of allowed, all of the different frequencies to kind of merge in such a way that they're actually beautiful. So it's not affecting me, even though it's loud. So I'm grateful for that. I'm definitely grateful for that. So went outside and
Yes.
did a little bit of a dance in the sunlight and had when I looked back on the video, there's like this wave of energy that flowed through it. So that was it was kind of neat too for me to see. But anyway, yeah, so thank you for the smudging, MJ, and for that little interjection, because yes, there are several reasons why we needed to say that today. But
Woof. Yep.
today's all about, we release that, whew,
Let it
all
go.
about basil. Basil
Yes.
tea and all of the magic with basil. So let me show you. I have several things. I've got the actual dried basil. I keep one in my kitchen and I keep one in my magical tools because it is a magical tool.
Bing,
I
bing, bing,
and
bing. And
MJ is going to talk all about that. So that's why I have several bottles of the dried basil. But I also brought you my well, one of the basil plants from outside, and I want to show you why I brought this one. You'll notice that there is green, but part of it is dried. And right here, there are a bunch of seeds, right? So I always plant extra. So one of them can go to seed, and then I can save the seeds and plant more. So you have an abundance of basil. So always do that when you get basil plants, or if you grow basil plants. Plant some to allow them to go to seed so you can have the seeds and just plant extra, right? So, but I wanted to have to show you the difference. Here's one that's this actually is flowering right there. So if you never want your basil plants to go to seed, just pluck off the flower and it won't, because once it stops flowering, then it goes starts to dry. You get your seeds right there. So that's why I wanted to share that one with you.
that was so awesome. You see the best of both worlds? That's the tree of the yin and the yang, the seeds and the growth. Beautiful. Wow.
Yes, yes. So basil, basil tea, very easy to make. Maybe a teaspoon of the dried basil to 8 ounces of hot water. Just let it steep for, I would say, maybe 5 to 10 minutes because it's dried. But if you're using the fresh, you'll need maybe 3 or 4 of the fresh leaves to your 8 ounces of water, because the fresh, you're going to get a lot more of those essential oils that are going to be coming through. So you don't need as much of the fresh leaves, right? What's the benefits of basil? Drinking basil tea and all of the other stuff that we'll talk about. It's caffeine free, naturally caffeine free. It has lots of calcium. It's loaded with vitamin A and vitamin C. It's got lots of zinc, loaded with iron. We need iron for blood production. And of course, that vibrant green in the basil, we know that's chlorophyll, right? So lots of chlorophyll in there. Most people know about basil in the culinary aspects of it, right? But there are lots of medicinal aspects as well, as well as magical aspects, which we'll also discuss in the show. You know that. So um, there's also a lot of different types of basil. So let's mention a few. Sweet basil is typically what most people refer to as the regular basil. That's typically sweet basil. But there's also your curly basil, which is an Italian basil. There's tulsi, which is called holy
Holy
basil.
basil.
There's lemon basil, there's a Thai basil, and then there's another one also called lettuce leaf basil. The thing is, they all have pretty much the same compounds. They give a lot of the most of the same benefits. Holy basil is kind of in a category all by itself. So we can do a show on that all by itself. But a lot of the medicinal benefits that we'll talk about, pretty much all of these different basils, whichever one you might have, will have those benefits in there. Okay. So there are a few oils that are in basil, in most of the species of basil. Like I said, holy basil is in like a whole other category. So some of these oils include cinnamate, and that word cinna, you'll be familiar with that from cinnamon, right? So you know that cinnamon is also going to have this particular oil in there as well. So cinnamate, citronellol, and if you're familiar with that first part, citronella, um, lemongrass also has this particular oil in it. because citronella and lemongrass, basil, a lot of those carry a lot of this particular oil. They all tend to, what's that word? They're bug repellents, right? Natural bug repellents. Geraniol is another oil in this. Linalool is also one. Pinene and terpineol. So those are a few of the oils that you find in basil. Now, basil has been used for centuries. It's like one of the, if not thousands of years, it is considered to be one of the oldest herbs known to man on the planet. Right? So it's been around a long time. It was used for colds, for fevers, for coughs, sore throat, even heart issues. And basil is considered to be a heart chakra herb, right? Because of that vibrant green color. But you'll also see that with some of the stuff I mentioned, that it's also a solar plexus chakra oil, a chakra herb as well. So I like to say that most plants tend to affect all the chakras because they do so much for the body, right? And they don't necessarily, although some of them target specific areas, most of the herbs that we drink or eat in whatever form tend to affect your whole body. If it's specifically for the digestive system, your digestive system is going to heal and it's going to affect the rest of your body. So that is just kind of my take on that. So even though basil is considered to be a heart chakra herb, it also affects so much of the rest of the body. It's also been used for eye issues. It's been used to lower cholesterol, and has also been used for teeth problems, in mouthwash, just chewing on it, that sort of thing. It is a natural anti-anxiety, antidepressant. So if you suffer from any kind of stress, you can also drink just a simple cup of basil tea, and that will help to calm your nervous system, take you out of that fight or flight mode, right? It does help to improve memory. So a good blend, adding this to maybe your a little bit of rosemary and basil tea is actually really good blend. It does help to prevent indigestion, and what it does, it feeds the gut flora. We always talk about, in your stomach there's um, it's got its own kind of microbiome going on in there, and you have to feed it with certain bacteria. And basil does help to feed that gut flora that you have in there.
That's right. So if you have ingestion problems or you have those bacteria
Yes,
problems, basil is a good one to have to clear all that. So if you
yes,
have immune system problems, like Gina just said, the basil's awesome, guys.
absolutely. And that, since you brought that up, one of the I have a tea blend, and let's digress a little bit. I woke up this morning because yesterday I had something that I know that I shouldn't have. We
Uh-oh.
do that. We have, I'm not perfect. I've always said that, but I love pretzels, but I know what pretzels
Yes.
do to me. So this morning I woke up and I looked at my skin and I had all of these tiny little bumps all over, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not doing tea talk today because." I said, "No, we're gonna do it. This is gonna be a lesson." So I wanted to share this with you. I'm gonna be vulnerable. There are times, like myself, when I eat something that I know that I shouldn't have. And the thing is, I didn't eat maybe 5 pieces. I ate quite a bit. And when you overdo something, it can bother you. And it did affect my skin. It infected me internally, which then manifested on my skin. So today, what I'm doing is I'm drinking my bioproduction tea, and one of the main ingredients in here is basil, because I'll talk about that later on as well. Basil supports the liver. When you're doing any kind of detox, right, your liver goes through a lot of work. So you want to drink and eat certain things that are going to support your liver as it works to process all of that stuff out of the body.
Or chew it.
So,
Or chew it. This
or
is one
chew
of
it. Yes.
this is an herb that you could actually put in your mouth and like just chew it and it'll get the
Yes.
same
Because it does
effect, guys.
taste good. It tastes good.
It does,
So,
and it smells good. It's so good.
yeah, it smells amazing. So that's the reason why I'm drinking my bile production, because it also helps to produce the bile, which also supports the liver in preventing the liver from, um, there was a term, fatty liver. that fatty liver issue, right? So by supporting the liver, then we're giving it the help it needs to detox. So I am drinking that particular one because when I saw this, that's the first thing that popped into my head was you need some a detox, and so I reached for that, which has basil, a lot of basil in it.
Just
So
so you
it's
know, I've
not
been detoxing for 3 days, and the teas that I've been drinking have all had basil in them. I just want you to know. I've done a 3 day for a detox. Thank goodness it's over yesterday. I'm now refreshing with refreshing tea, but yes, the basil is amazing.
is amazing. Um, so it does help to prevent indigestion, like we mentioned. It and also helps to prevent acid reflux and it your body, your natural homeostasis is alkaline, right? So what basil helps to do is actually restore that pH balance in your body as well. When you drink the basil tea or you chew it, it goes to work to try to restore that balance that we need within our body, right? Let's flip. All right, so this is a little like not necessarily a recipe, but you can kind of mix it up however you wish. But basil juice, and literally basil juice is just kind of grinding up some basil. You get that liquid like a pulp almost. And you mix that with some honey, and that helps to dissolve kidney stones. So if you have an issue with kidney stones, the basil juice mixed with some honey actually helps to break that up.
And can I just add to that? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to tell you, add to that, add a little strawberries to that basil juice, and now you've just made an amazing summer drink that not only is going to be beneficial, but it's going to absolutely taste amazing too, and it's going to want you to drink more. So add the strawberries, lemon, and basil together in that infusion, and oh my goodness, you're in for a wonderful surprise.
I noticed that word that she used, infusion. Right? It's not just your regular, it's an infusion. And that's what it is. So basil, extremely antibacterial. It is also anti-inflammatory because if it's going to help you to kind of break up all of the kidney stones in your body. I mean, kidney stones cause pain. I don't know if you've ever had a kidney stone and your body tried to get rid of it. I had a blockage in my right kidney, and we thought it was a kidney stone at some point. So I was seeing a nephrologist, but it turns out that it wasn't a kidney stone. But he went on to tell me some things, and one of the herbs that was mentioned, you probably know this, MJ's uh chanca piedra. Have you ever
Okay,
heard of
chancla
it?
piedra.
And that again, if you add basil to that, that would be really good for the kidneys as well. And chanca piedra actually tastes really good. It's really good just by itself, no sweetener, nothing. But add some basil, add a little bit of honey.
Basil's good on
But
anything. You can sprinkle basil on everything, and the world is a happy place. It's just like
that is
oregano and
true.
basil, and you just sprinkle on everything. And then because it's something you could sprinkle dry, you could cook it. No matter what you do with it,
Hmm.
you can't go wrong with basil. Seriously, you can't.
That is true. That is true. And because it is considered to be a natural antidepressant. So imagine just taking this and just sprinkling out over everybody. Just
It's a happy.
anybody who has, if you've been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, any of that stuff, seriously, basil tea. Drink some basil tea.
Basil tea.
Or even if
Basil
you
tea.
don't want to drink it, take some leaves, get yourself a basil plant, keep it, crush it up in your hands, and just smell it. Just sit there and smell it. I mean, fresh basil is so amazing. It just
Scent
smells
therapy.
so
My
good.
God, we're going back
Yes.
to that's therapy for, once
Yep.
you smell something, it's going to make you
Aromatherapy.
right.
Yeah.
It is aromatherapy at its
Mhm.
finest right there. And how healthy for you. Instead of perfumes and essential oils, go back to the basic plant and just so in front of my office is and I share space. My dear Anna has these beautiful basil plants growing right when you walk into the entranceway. So, how beautiful and fortunate I am that she attends to these little basils. That when I come in, the whiff is like, oh my goodness, this is heaven right here. So, that's how good. Imagine in your entryway, you put these plants because it's going to give you so much
Mhm.
more than you ever can imagine.
Yes, and that's something I was going to talk about later, but since MJ brought it up now, that is actually a concept in Feng Shui. Placing basil at the entrance to your home, the entrance to your business place, to your office, whatever the case is, yes, that actually helps to bring in positive energy into your home. And if anybody is sick in your home, it actually helps them to get better too. So that
Yep.
is considered to be one of the feng shui concepts. Basil, since we're on feng shui right now, basil is considered to be the wood element in feng shui. So we talk about, balancing energies. I know a lot of people grow basil like by a windowsill in their kitchen, and that is not considered to be good feng shui energy because wood is considered to be not basil is considered to be the wood element in feng shui, which is related to the fire energy. Now you already have so much fire in your kitchen. When you bring in more fire, you can create imbalance. So that's
Right.
why, according to feng shui, you shouldn't have basil growing in your kitchen or anywhere near your kitchen. But at the entrance to your home, yes, that is considered to be extremely good feng shui energy. Right. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm really glad you brought that up.
But it's also
Uh,
protection. So in the spiritual world, get out of the feng shui. In the spiritual world, basil is a protection plant. So putting it protection, and it's good luck. It's a luck plant. People call in the good luck with it and the protection. So putting in front of their home back in the days, we're talking they protected and they added blessings of luck to come to them. So look at all the benefits you have from the feng shui to just, in nature itself, putting it together right in front of your
yes.
doorway.
So let me go through these. Oh, if you have oily skin, adding basil juice, you can add some basil juice into your cleanser, that whatever that you're using, or you can just create your own by adding some rose water, mixing it with the basil juice, adding some sandalwood essential oil if you have that. If you don't, just some rose water. We talked about how to make rose water in, I think, two, no, is this I think about two episodes ago, we talked about how to
Yeah,
make
we would
rose
talk
water.
about
Very
roses.
easy,
Well, right, very easy.
very easy. Um, so if you mix some of the rose water with the basil leaves and use that on your skin, it's really good for if you have oily skin, and it's really good for people who have acne as well. And just take the mixture of the rose water with the basil pulp, and just put that on your skin. Leave it on for about 20 minutes. Rinse with cold water. Right. So it's anti-inflammatory, it's antibacterial, it's antimicrobial. What isn't it, right? It's an amazing herb. If you battle with diabetes, it also helps to balance out your blood sugar. Because remember, I just mentioned that basil will help to balance to help you to come back to homeostasis, which is an alkaline state of your body. When your body is more acidic, that's where dis-ease, and eventually, if you let it get too far, disease will start. When your body is alkaline, then illness cannot exist in an alkaline body. It just can't.
Hmm.
Right. So there are a couple before we go on to the couple of recipes I want MJ to talk about, because when you're in the kitchen, or whether you're in at your cauldron, or you're by your cauldron in the kitchen, there's magic. So I'm going to turn it over to
Magic.
MJ.
Okay, here we go. Thank you, Gina. So let's talk about basil and all the wonderfulness that it is. Basil is a masculine energy. And like she said, it's fire. It deals with the planet Mars. Okay. Now, this is about astral travel. This is exorcism. This is love. This is protection. Okay. Holy basil kept in your front yard. Once again, in your front yard is for protection and prosperity. It calls it in. So get it out of the kitchen. Whoever said, I'm putting it in the kitchen, and put it in your front yard, you're going to thank me for it. And once again, basil's, like she said, eat it. If you can't drink it, if you can't smoke it, which means, burn it, I want you to eat it, because this is something so good for you. So let's talk about the word basil. And I'm going to refer to the big fat Greek working. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what he said? Everything stems from the Greek. And he said the word basil itself comes from the Greek word for king, thus associating it with wealth and royalty. So basil is a Greek word for wealth and prosperity. There you go. And you put some Windex on it, and there you go. And that is what basil is. Now, basil is highly revered in India. It's a sacred herb believed to manifest in the goddess Tusila. Now, back in the day, if you haven't, I talked about this story before, as where she was duped. And because of the dupe of what happened to her, she was changed into sweet basil and spread that across the world. It's a really great story. And then let's go back. Interestingly enough, during the medieval times, people consumed basil, thought that basil was poisonous. This was due to the fact that basil and rue, which was grew on all, and they used rue a lot, don't grow well together. They don't grow together, and they thought that they did. So the fact that they didn't grow next to each other, and rue was considered to be an antidote to many poisons, basil was thought to be toxin for many, many years until somebody said, hey, this plant is magic right here. You got to take it away from this plant so that way it could flourish. So basil was also a disliked plant in ancient Egypt, in Greece, where it represented hate. And it was the symbol of Satan. Can you believe that? They thought that this plant was a representation of Satan, and the smell and all. And they actually created the word for it. So I couldn't believe when I read that. And why? It was just because of where it was planted and how it looked, and the leaves. You know, some of the leaves come out really different. And I guess the leaves were meant to be like the thorns of the devil. And that's why they scared the people with the plant. And how curious, because what an amazing plant they missed out on.
Exactly.
Now in Europe, they would place basil in a deceased person's hand to assure safe passage to the next life. If they placed it in the mouth in India, it assured a direct passage to the universal spirit. So basil in the mouth, just like in medieval times, they said a silver coin in the eyes, so that spirit can be connected. Basil is the connection. So if you put it in your mouth, and it rises you to spirit. So imagine hearing that. Imagine meditating with a basil leaf, or say a basil incense, or oil, and connecting with your pure source, because that's what basil does for you guys. Okay. Basil was once used in women. Oh, I love this one. This is a cute one. So basil was once used to see if a woman was pure or not. Get out of here. We got Handmaid's Tale all over again. Blessed be.
Wow.
Okay. She was given a basil, and if it withered in her hand, she was considered impure. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? Okay, here's the basil.
Wow.
So if she has a hot hand, or she's nervous and it withers in her hand, by that alone, they considered her a whore, and she was either hung, strapped, or put in a whorehouse. Just by that alone. Can you believe it? Oh my God, don't take me back there. So basil in its sense, but overall, basil is magical. Basil is truly an amazing herb. And it's when I said it's prosperity. And for me, prosperity.
Green aventurine.
Yeah, I took my green adventuring dragon out so she can be, because this is prosperity. So look how beautiful she is, and I'm going to show you different versions. Look right here. Look at this. This is pure, and this is what it is. Okay, and we're gonna even and look, Baby Yoda, even Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda's coming live in green event, because you know what? This is magical. Oh wait, and then we get the snake, and see, you got the raw one.
This is the raw piece.
Yeah, and see, and I have the pieces. This is my little snake. Wow, the snake, and this is all. So this is prosperity. So just like say you have no crystals, you have anything, and you want to call in luck magically. Say, I want to call in luck today. Make yourself some basil tea. The magic's in the tea. Set your intention into this tea that this is what I'm calling in. This is the money I want. This is what I need in my life right now. And be determined and frank. This is, I claim. Not, I need, please, may I. No, I claim this. And in detail, let it know, and drink your tea. You don't understand how powerful you are. When you set that
Mhm.
intention, you're really going to work with some magic. And basil tea is one of the teas that will really do that for you.
Absolutely. And there's so many ways of working with basil. The drinking it in the tea form is one way. Pesto. Who hasn't heard of pesto, right?
I love
If you have,
pesto.
and right now, oh, I forgot to bring my pesto. Oh, but anyway, you know y'all know what it looks like. Lots of basil, Parmesan cheese. Most people use pine nuts. I tend to use walnuts. Um, you can also add in, olive oil. Olive oil is also a necessity, but you can kind of play around with the pesto recipe. That's a traditional pesto recipe, right? The ingredients I just mentioned, but you can also add avocado. If you ever made pesto with avocado, amazing. Then you can
And it's
also,
avocado season right here in Puerto Rico. And I
exactly.
want to tell you, the best avocados are right here. So,
No, listen, the thing is, right now, I know everybody has, if you grow basil, you've got tons of basil right now because this is when, this is the season for it. So if you're tired of making pesto, think about some of these other ways that you can work with it. Hummus. I love hummus. Basil hummus. Can you imagine? Two of my favorite things, basil, garbanzo beans. They come together. Oh, you throw in a little bit of avocado. What you got? All right. So play around with so many different recipes. Just play around with them, right? So
add it
there's,
to oregano, add it to things. Remember, pizza.
yes,
Take it and add the extra on the pizza. Add it on your rice. You could even
hmm,
steam it with the rice. And when I tell you, it just adds the
yes,
flavors like, potatoes. You can make basil, rosemary, and basil potato, roasted potatoes or
hmm,
carrots. Oh my God. I mean, we're gonna be foodies. I'm a foodie here, so I'm gonna tell you these are all amazing things to make with just basil. But can I
yes,
throw one more thing? I'm gonna
yes,
go a sideways. You can, and the left off basil that you don't use, I want you to tell you, remember, think prosperity. Think prosperity. You want to manifest prosperity? Make yourself a basil bath and put yourself a
hmm,
salt bath with basil and call in prosperity. It begins with you going right into your skin, and it's going to help you
yep,
so much, guys.
absolutely, very, very easy. And you mentioned pizza. If you don't want to put that traditional tomato sauce on there, put pesto. Just
Yeah.
spread some pesto on there. Put on your your toppings. I tend to do. I'm vegan, so I put on all of the vegetables and things, right? So if you don't want to do the traditional tomato sauce, then put pesto. But there's so many different ways. One of the things I wrote down today was basil and mango lassi. This is the time of year when starting from around April, all through summer, mango lassis. That's like the thing for me to make. But add in some basil into that, and that takes it to a whole other level. Also wrote down basil and orange juice. If you love orange juice, crush up a little bit of basil, put that into your orange juice. You'll thank me later. Um, Basil salmon. Just taking your pesto and spreading it onto your little piece of salmon. My youngest son, I should say, and my daughter both love salmon. My oldest doesn't eat fish and actually can't eat seafood. Bless his heart. But yeah, that's just something he has to deal with. But taking the pesto and spreading it on a salmon and then baking it, amazing. That is amazing. What else did I have down here? Oh, if you're adding basil to any dishes, and I do that with practically all my herbs anyway, but especially with basil, like MJ said, it is considered to be luck, some money, abundance herb. As you're spreading it in, set that intention. Call in whatever it is that you need. As you're stirring in your basil, or as you're sprinkling in your basil, or whatever herb you're working with. There's so many. If people were to watch me as I'm cooking, as I'm sprinkling things in, they see my mouth moving. They probably think, "Oh, what is wrong with this woman?" But the thing is, herbs, they are magic. They are magic, and
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
so, and this
And
is,
she's
you're
talking
working
about
with,
food. And I'm going to talk over here because I'm going to interrupt her. She's going to make the
yes,
recipes in the food. And then on my side, I'll be over here rolling that basil in some olive oil, making a candle out of it, making a prosperity candle out of it. And
Yeah.
then I will circle it with a little bit of citrine crystals, or I'll add my dragon right next to it to put into it, so that way the energy can just flare up and light that candle. Not only is it gonna, if you add it into the candle, if you take a little tea light and you loosen it up, put it in the oven for 5 minutes, take it out, you can sprinkle the basil in there. And when the tea light actually lights up and goes, you have that a beautiful aroma. And then you set your intention into the candle and tell the candle what you want, the manifesting of the prosperity. And then at the end, you set it, let it get ready, light your candle, and look what you just did. Magic,
Exactly.
magic. And how
Yeah.
easy was that?
Yeah, and you utilize something that you normally would only have in your kitchen. See, that's what this show is about. It's taking these things from your kitchen, out of your spice cabinet, and showing you there's magic in this. Tea forms of food, yes, but bring it all the way over, and you can create prosperity with it. You can create candles with it, all kinds of magic, right? And that's what we wanted to share with you when we decided to kind of go back to the basics, was to just take individual spices that are sitting there in your spice cabinet that you use every day for on one type of food or another, and you just mindlessly probably sprinkle it into whatever it is you're cooking. We want you to now start to cook with intention. Make your teas with intention. Create a little
Know what you're
ritual around.
making. Know when you want to manifest something, saying, oh my God, I
Yeah,
need this. What do I do? And all I have is whatever's in my kitchen or in my home. Guess what? You have a candle, you have some basil, you light it up, set your intent. Even it's for protection too, members. So either way,
yeah,
if basil's the only herb you have and you want to go with it, you can use it. Not for nothing. And if anything, you don't even have a candle, you can burn it up, okay, and let it go. And let me tell you, it's going to be amazing. And you just set that intention, and it's all
yeah.
about faith. I want to tell you this. Gina and I are here on faith. All this is everything we do. We took a leap of faith in the directions in our path in life to get us where we are. So this faith has led us to tell you, have that same faith, because our journeys have gotten you where you want to go now. So go, get this basil, set it, manifest. Because I want to tell you, I use basil a lot. I manifest a lot. I manifest a hell
I
lot of
do
things.
too.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm very
Yes,
excited about basil. So I'm going to tell you, it is one. Long as you believe, don't have that mindset. Because I'm going to tell you, teach you something real quick. Don't set it and then be like, I don't know, it's not going to work. I don't deserve it. Blah blah blah. You just killed your magic. Start over.
right.
Put it, the first doubt that you put in, you got to put it away. Remember, doubt was last year. We're not doubting ourselves this year. This year we're
Exactly.
magical. So this year you're going to light it up, you're going to set it, and you're going to forget it, and you're going to know in your heart, I got this. And when you say that, the universe is going to hear you, and guess what? It's going to conspire in your favor to bring it in. And I'm really serious
Exactly.
about that. This is how my flow works. I don't try to get stuck in negativity. I just keep with the flow and keep going and going. And guess what? And Gina does the same thing. And that's why we're telling you, use these herbs. These are basic herbs you have. These are everyday herbs that you can just have in your kitchen and that you can grow. We are starting from the basics. We're going back to basics with you, because we really want you. There are a lot of amazing teas and there's brands and all these fanciness. But if you know the basic ingredients and you really don't have the money or able to get it at the moment that you need it, your kitchen has what you need. You just need to get in there and understand each herb. And oh, I understand, that's prosperity. I need that money. Come here. And there you go.
Exactly. Exactly. I want to throw one example. Chai. A lot of people go to this big name place and get this chai, drink, and not realizing that if you go to your kitchen cabinet, you probably have every single ingredient sitting in your spice cabinet that particular drink is made of. And when you learn to make it yourself, you will never make it go and buy it from somebody else again, because
Right?
putting your right. Once I learned how to make that, oh no, no, you buy your ingredients or go to your and invade your spice cabinet. Trust me, you have every ingredient in there to make yourself an amazing cup of chai, hot or cold, however you like it.
Or the opposite. you're not going to have much in your cabinet. But once you start getting addicted to these herbs, and let me change the word, not addicted. Once you start infusing these herbs into your daily life, it is going to change you, and you're going to want to look for more that you connect with, that you feel comfortable with, that makes your body feel good. Because the end game is that your body, your aura, your spirit is good. And that's what this is about.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, um, I have a very special guest that's coming, so we're going to end a little shorter today. But I think we've given you a lot of information
We
to,
did.
look at basil in a whole new way, right? Whole new
Absolutely. And let me tell you
way.
what Gina just said, and I want you to know she has a special class coming. And I told her, Gina, we can give the information, and if the guests come, you know what? We've given from our heart. You got what we need, and that's it. You can do both at the same time. So, Gina, thank you for this amazing tea talk. It
And
was
thank you to
wonderful.
MJ.
I hope
It's
you have a great visit with your guests. And remember, guys, basil is magic. It is one of the most magic. Start using it like it is, because
Yeah,
when you use it like it's magic, you're going to become more magical, because there's magic in
absolutely.
every cup. So thank you, Gina. You have a great day,
Thank you to
guys, and
everyone
take
who's
care
going to
for
be
joining
watching
us.
here, who watching the replay. We appreciate you all.
Bye bye.